You have been told that being the ultimate giver is the key to a man's heart, and that your endless patience will eventually be rewarded with the loyalty you crave. You act like a golden retriever, always wagging your tail and waiting by the door, hoping that your constant warmth will make him realize your worth. But in the cold reality of modern dynamics, this overinvestment does not breed respect. It breeds indifference and boredom. When you provide a surplus of effort without requiring any reciprocity, you stop being a prize and start being a convenience that he no longer feels the need to pursue or cherish. The more you pour into a man who offers nothing but crumbs, the more you deplete your own soul and lower your value in the eyes of the person you want to impress. You think that by doing more, by being more understanding, and by accepting his excuses, you are showing strength and commitment. In reality, you are showing him exactly how much disrespect you are willing to tolerate for the sake of companionship. Men do not fall in love with women they can walk over. They fall in love with the women they are afraid to lose, because those women know exactly where the exit is. Stop believing that your service is a currency that buys love, because love is not a transaction of labor. When you adopt the golden retriever energy, you become predictable and safe, and safety is the silent killer of attraction and desire in a heterosexual romantic context. You are essentially teaching him that his mediocre behavior is acceptable, because you are always there to pick up the slack and provide comfort. This cycle of overgiving creates a dynamic where you are the only one working, while he simply sits back and enjoys the benefits of a partner he does not have to work for. The truth is that a man who truly values you will want to facilitate your life and make things easier, not watch you struggle to maintain the connection on your own. By being too nice, you are actually preventing him from stepping into his role as a provider and protector, because you have already done all the work yourself. You are suffocating the natural tension that keeps a relationship healthy and vibrant by being far too available and far too eager to please. It is time to realize that your niceness is not a virtue if it comes at the high cost of your own dignity and emotional well-being. Think about the times you stayed up late waiting for a text that never came, or the times you made excuses for his lack of effort to your friends and family. You were performing a role that was never requested of you, driven by a fear of abandonment rather than a sense of self-worth. This desperation is palpable, and it acts as a repellent to high-quality men who are looking for a partner, not a servant. Every time you swallow your pride to keep the peace, you lose a piece of the magnetic power that you were naturally born with as a high-value woman. We see women everywhere who are exhausted and bitter because they have given their best years and their best energy to men who barely noticed they were there. These women followed the traditional script of being the supportive and selfless partner, only to find themselves replaced or ignored once they were no longer useful. This is the tragic outcome of the girl who gives too much without setting firm boundaries or demanding a high standard of treatment. You must break this pattern now before it consumes your identity and leaves you wondering where your power went. Being a black cat is about shifting your internal frequency from seeking validation to being the source of your own validation and happiness. It means understanding that your presence is a gift that must be earned and maintained through consistent action and genuine respect from the other side. If he stops prioritizing you, the only logical response is to stop prioritizing him immediately and without a lengthy explanation or emotional outburst. You do not need to argue for a seat at a table where you are not being served the respect and the devotion you deserve. The energy of the black cat is not about being a villain or being intentionally cruel to others. It is about having a fierce sense of self-protection and standards. It is about being unbothered by the whims of people who do not align with your vision of a fulfilling and reciprocal life. When you stop chasing, you start attracting, and you begin to see the world for what it really is rather than what you hope it could be. This is the first step in reclaiming your throne and ensuring that no man ever has the opportunity to treat you like an option again. You must be willing to walk away from any situation that drains your energy or makes you feel like you are difficult to love. The moment a man realizes that you are not afraid of the silence or the solitude, his entire approach toward you will begin to change. He will see that you are complete on your own, and that his presence in your life is a privilege, not a necessity for your survival. This independence is the foundation of the black cat energy, and it is the only way to build a relationship that is based on mutual respect. If you are finding this perspective helpful, and you are ready to stop settling for less than you deserve, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of our content. We are here to guide you through this transformation and help you build the life of respect and independence you have always wanted. Joining this community is the first commitment you make to yourself to never be a golden retriever again. Stay with us as we dive deeper into the psychology of the black cat and how you can apply these principles starting today.
The rebirth of Sarah.
Sarah used to be the woman who would rearrange her entire week just because a man she liked mentioned he might be free on Thursday night. She was the one sending long, heartfelt paragraphs to explain her feelings whenever he pulled away, hoping her vulnerability would act as a bridge to his heart. She lived in a constant state of anxiety, monitoring his social media and analyzing the tone of his texts, always ready to give more of herself to prove she was worth keeping. Her life was a series of acts of service and emotional labor, yet she felt more invisible and less respected with every passing day. She was a classic golden retriever, loyal to a fault to people who had not yet earned her devotion or even shown her basic consistency. Everything changed the Saturday Sarah was supposed to go for her ballet class, a passion that she had ever since she was a kid. A man she had been seeing casually for a few weeks messaged her at the last minute, asking if she wanted to grab coffee. Old Sarah would have canceled her class in a heartbeat, eager to seize any crumb of attention he offered. But the new Sarah, embracing the black cat energy, realized that her health and her personal schedule were not up for negotiation for a casual encounter. She politely declined, stating she already had other plans, as she was heading to her ballet class and then to her job in tech, where she had a complex coding project to finish. When he didn't reply for 2 days after her refusal, Sarah didn't spiral into a cycle of self-doubt or send a follow-up message asking if he was upset. She spent that time finishing her work at the computer, meeting her mother for a healthy dinner, and laughing with her girlfriends about life. She was happy and serene, not because she was being cold, but because she was genuinely detached from the outcome of a man who didn't prioritize her time. She didn't need him to validate her Saturday for it to be successful. She was already complete and fulfilled by the life she had built for herself. Her peace of mind was her own responsibility, and she refused to outsource it to someone so inconsistent. A week later, the same man reached out with a half-hearted excuse about being busy, expecting Sarah to be waiting by the phone to welcome him back. Instead of an emotional confrontation or a long explanation of why his behavior was disrespectful, Sarah utilized assertive communication. She clearly stated her standards for planning and consistency, making it known that she does not entertain last-minute whims. When he tried to push back with a manipulative comment about her being difficult, she didn't get angry or try to defend her character. She simply recognized that he was a drain on her energy rather than a facilitator of her happiness, and she felt her attraction to him begin to evaporate instantly. Sarah chose to withdraw her energy entirely without a dramatic scene, because she understood that silence is the loudest message a woman can send. She didn't block him out of spite, but she stopped initiating, stopped responding to low-effort breadcrumbs, and focused entirely on her own growth, maintaining her high standards in every area of her life. This wasn't about being mean. It was about the fact that she would rather be alone and successful than in a relationship that required her to shrink herself. She opened the door for him to leave her life, and she stood there with a smile, knowing she would be perfectly fine. By the time he realized he had lost a high-value, honest, and authentic partner, Sarah was already miles ahead, focused on her own path. She had replaced her need for his approval with a deep sense of self-respect and a commitment to never accepting less than she deserved. Sarah proved that you can be a warm, loving person while still being fiercely protective of your boundaries and your time. She was no longer a girl who begged for love. She was a woman who commanded respect through her actions and her refusal to settle for mediocrity. Her story is the blueprint for every woman who is tired of being the one who gives everything, and receives nothing in return.
Detachment is your greatest asset.
The true power of the black cat lies in the profound realization that your value is an inherent fact of your existence, rather than a variable that fluctuates based on a man's perception or his inconsistent levels of attention. You are not a project to be worked on, a riddle to be solved, or a backup plan for when his other options fade away. You are a sovereign and complete entity who offers warmth to the deserving and cold distance to the disrespectful, without a single second of hesitation or guilt. When you finally stop fearing the end of a relationship and embrace the possibility of walking away, you gain the ultimate psychological leverage, because a woman who is genuinely willing to exit the door is the only woman a man will ever truly fear losing. Your peace of mind is the most expensive thing you own, so never give it away for free to someone who treats your heart like a temporary convenience, a source of free labor, or an optional hobby that they only engage with when they are bored. This state of being unbothered is not a calculated performance you put on to get a reaction, but a deep shift where his actions no longer have the power to dismantle your internal joy or your sense of self-worth. A black cat is never defined by her relationship status, because she is already a massive success within her own life, focusing on her career and her physical strength in the gym and the deep connections she maintains with her family and her loyal circle of friends. If a man chooses to stop prioritizing you, he is simply making a conscious choice to lose access to your magnetic energy and your authentic partnership, and you must let him live with the full consequences of that choice without interference or emotional pleading. True sovereignty is found in the absolute silence that follows his disrespect, a silence that signals you have already reclaimed your energy and moved on to a reality that aligns with your high standards. You must understand that a black cat is not necessarily a cold or heartless person. She is simply a woman who has mastered the art of detachment as a means of survival and self-respect. She is capable of being warm, sweet, and incredibly loving when a man proves through consistent action that he is worthy of that side of her. However, the moment that respect is breached or the reciprocity ceases, she has the internal fortitude to withdraw that warmth and protect her core energy. This is not about being cruel, but about being fair to yourself in a world that often asks women to give until they are empty. By refusing to tolerate mediocre behavior, you set a standard that forces everyone in your orbit to either level up or step out of your way. A woman who understands the black cat logic knows that her time is her most valuable currency, and she refuses to spend it on men who do not facilitate her life. She does not stay in situations that drain her or make her feel small, because she knows that she is a prize that adds immense value to anyone lucky enough to be in her presence. When you stop explaining yourself and start observing a man's behavior with a detached eye, you gain the clarity needed to make decisions that favor your long-term happiness over short-term validation. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to enjoy your life and share it only with those who enhance the experience. This level of self-assurance is the foundation of a life lived on your own terms, where no man has the power to make you feel like you are not enough. If a man realizes that you are not afraid of the silence or the solitude, his entire approach towards you will begin to change, because he can sense that you are not anchored by a need for him. This independence is what makes you magnetic, as it shows you are a woman of substance who has a full life outside of any romantic entanglement. You are a woman who runs her own races, builds her own career, and nurtures her own soul without needing a man to sign off on her progress. When you are complete on your own, a relationship becomes a choice rather than a necessity, and that is the only position from which true power can be exercised. You must be willing to let go of any connection that requires you to sacrifice your peace or your dignity for the sake of staying together. The silence of a black cat is not a game of manipulation. It is a boundary that protects her from further emotional depletion. When she stops responding to disrespect, she is not trying to win the argument. She is simply removing herself from a conversation that no longer serves her. She understands that her energy is limited, and she chooses to invest it in her work, her fitness, and the people who actually show up for her. This focus on self-improvement and joy makes her immune to the games that often plague modern dating dynamics. By being unbothered by the actions of low-effort men, she remains in total control of her emotional state and her future. Being a black cat means being courageous enough to be honest about what you want, and authentic enough to walk away when it is not being provided. You do not hide your standards to make a man feel comfortable, nor do you lower your expectations to avoid being called difficult. You know that the right man will not only meet your standards, but will be grateful for the clarity and the strength you bring to the relationship. Until that man arrives, you are perfectly content to thrive in your own company, enjoying the serenity and the success you have worked so hard to achieve. This is the ultimate form of self-love, the refusal to let anyone disturb the peace you have built for yourself. Never forget that you were born to be a partner, not a servant, and that any dynamic that expects you to do all the heavy lifting is a dynamic that deserves to die. You are a woman of high value who deserves to be treated with the same intensity and care that you bring to the table. If he cannot match your energy, he does not deserve to be in your space, and you must have the discipline to remove him without looking back. This is the cold, hard logic of the black cat. Reciprocity is the only price of admission to your life. Without it, there is no relationship. There is only a drain on your soul that you are no longer willing to tolerate. You are the architect of your own happiness, and your life is a masterpiece that does not require a man's approval to be considered a success. Whether you are working on a complex project at your computer or hitting a new personal record at the gym, your focus remains on your own growth and fulfillment. This internal focus is what keeps you grounded and unbothered when the world around you is in chaos. You are a black cat, a creature of grace, power, and absolute independence, and it is time you started acting like it. The journey to becoming a black cat is not about changing who you are, but about returning to the person you were before the world told you that you had to be a golden retriever to be loved. It is about stripping away the need for external validation and replacing it with an unshakable core of self-respect. As you move forward, remember that your power lies in your ability to be detached from the outcome and attached to your own standards. You are a force to be reckoned with, a woman who knows her worth and refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. Stay serene, stay focused, and never let anyone dim the light of your black cat energy. If you are ready to stop guessing and start leading your own romantic narrative, I have created the definitive blueprint for your transformation, the Black Cat Playbook, a strategic manual for emotional independence and high-standard relationships, is now available for those who refuse to settle for breadcrumbs any longer. This is not just a collection of theories, but a strategic manual designed to help you implement the black cat mindset in real-time situations. From mastering the art of the silent exit to setting non-negotiable standards that command immediate respect, this guide provides the right moves and psychological tools you need to regain your power. Stop being the one who overinvests and start being the woman who knows exactly when to walk away. You can find the link to the Black Cat Playbook on the description of this video.
The psychology of emotional freedom.
The psychological foundation of the black cat energy is rooted in the principle of emotional autonomy, which dictates that your internal state must remain independent of external romantic validation. Most women are conditioned to believe that a relationship is the missing piece of their identity, leading them to act out of a deficit rather than a position of power. When you operate from a place of perceived lack, you inadvertently signal to men that you are a subordinate seeking a leader, rather than a queen selecting a partner. A black cat understands that she is already a complete ecosystem of success, joy, and purpose before a man even enters the frame. This shift from being a seeker to being a selector changes the entire chemistry of your interactions, making you the prize that must be pursued with consistent effort and genuine respect. Independence in a romantic context is not about being cold or distant. It is about the radical acceptance that you do not need any specific person to sustain your happiness or your lifestyle. You must cultivate a life that is so rich and fulfilling, filled with career achievements, physical vitality, and deep social bonds, that a man is merely a secondary addition to your world. When your life is already full, you naturally stop tolerating the breadcrumbs of attention that would typically satisfy a woman who is starving for connection. You start looking at men through a lens of utility and character rather than a lens of emotional desperation, which allows you to remain detached from outcomes that do not serve your highest good. The concept of detachment, or being unbothered, is often misunderstood as a lack of emotion, but it is actually the highest form of emotional intelligence and self-preservation. It means that while you are capable of loving with intensity and authenticity, you are also capable of leaving anyone who chooses to disrespect your standards or drain your energy. A black cat realizes that if a man wants to leave her life, his departure is an act of self-sorting that removes a mediocre element from her environment, making room for something better. This lack of attachment to a specific result gives you the freedom to communicate assertively and set boundaries without the paralyzing fear of being left alone in the silence. Men are biologically and socially wired to respond to the challenge of a woman who knows her worth and refuses to compromise her standards for the sake of companionship. When you stop chasing and start focusing on your own personal development, you create a vacuum of mystery and value that a high-quality man will feel a natural urge to fill. If you are always available, always explaining your feelings, and always trying to fix the relationship, you remove all the incentive for him to step up and facilitate your life. By pulling back your energy and returning it to yourself, you force the dynamic to rebalance, revealing whether he is a man capable of meeting your needs or just a ghost taking up space. A major pillar of this logic is the rejection of the golden retriever archetype, which prioritizes the comfort of the partner over the self-respect of the woman. Being the good girl who always compromises, always understands, and always does more, is a recipe for being taken for granted and eventually discarded for a woman with more mystery. You must be willing to be a little more selfish and a little less accommodating because, in the general landscape of relationships, women are often the ones who overinvest without a clear return. By limiting your investment to match the reciprocity you receive, you protect your emotional capital and ensure that you are never the only person working to keep the connection alive. True confidence comes from knowing that your success in life, your career, your hobbies, and your family ties is not contingent on a man's approval or presence. When you are busy building your empire and maintaining your health, you simply do not have the time or the inclination to obsess over why a man has not texted you back. This busy, fulfilled lifestyle is not a trick to attract men. It is the reality of a woman who values her time and her mission above the whims of a potential suitor. This aura of productivity and self-satisfaction is what makes the black cat so magnetic, as she appears to be a woman who is already winning at the game of life. You must accept the reality that many men will act primarily in their own self-interest, and therefore, you must be the primary advocate for your own well-being and happiness. If you do not prioritize your own needs and boundaries, you cannot expect a man to do it for you, as people will generally take as much as you are willing to give without offering anything in return. The black cat law of reciprocity is a strict filter that removes any individual who believes they can benefit from your warmth without contributing to the ease and beauty of your daily existence. It is not your job to teach a man how to treat you. It is your job to show him what you will and will not tolerate through your actions. Communication as a black cat is always assertive and concise, avoiding the trap of over-explaining or pleading for a man to understand your perspective or your emotional pain. If a man is a facilitator, he will listen to your standards and adjust his behavior out of respect. If he is a drainer, he will see your communication as a nuisance to be ignored. When you stop using 1,000 words to justify your boundaries, you demonstrate a level of self-assurance that is both intimidating and deeply attractive to those who are worthy of you. You state what you need, you observe his response, and you make your next move based on the data of his actions rather than the hollow promises of his words. The goal of this mindset is to reach a state of inner peace and serenity where your emotional waters are not disturbed by the passing storms of a man's inconsistency or his poor choices. You must become so anchored in your own reality that the presence or absence of a partner is merely a detail in your biography, rather than the central theme of your life. This level of detachment allows you to enjoy the intensity of romance when it is healthy and respectful, while also retaining the power to walk away the moment it becomes toxic. You are the architect of your own happiness, and your blueprints do not require a man's signature to be valid, functional, or beautiful. In the end, the black cat energy is about reclaiming the power that you have been socialized to give away to men in the hopes of being chosen or loved. By choosing yourself first, you become a woman who is impossible to manipulate because you no longer rely on external validation to feel good about who you are. You are honest, brave, and authentic, and you recognize that these qualities are rare gems that should only be shared with those who treat them with the highest level of care. You are not a girl who is waiting to be saved. You are a woman who has already saved herself and is now simply deciding who is worthy enough to walk beside her.
The filter for high-value partners.
To master the black cat energy, you must develop an analytical eye for the distinction between a man who acts as a facilitator and one who acts as a drainer in your life. A facilitator is a man whose natural instinct is to make your existence smoother, easier, and more beautiful because he recognizes and respects your inherent value. He does not see your standards as a hurdle, but as a roadmap for how to successfully integrate into your world. If a man is a facilitator, his actions will consistently align with his words, and you will feel a sense of expansion and peace in his presence. You must filter every interaction through this lens. Is he adding to the masterpiece of my life, or is he attempting to scribble over my hard-earned serenity with his own inconsistency? A drainer, conversely, is any man who requires constant emotional labor, explanations, or defensive maneuvers to maintain a connection. These are the men who offer crumbs of attention, prioritize their own comfort at your expense, and leave you feeling exhausted after every encounter. A black cat understands that men generally act in their own self-interest, so she remains vigilant against those who seek to benefit from her warmth without contributing anything of substance. If you find yourself constantly analyzing his motives or waiting for him to step up, he is a drainer by default. Your energy is a finite and precious resource that should never be wasted on someone who treats your partnership as a one-way street of your own giving. The primary law of the filter is observing how a man handles your no and your personal boundaries regarding your time and career. A facilitator respects your work, your commitment to the gym, and your relationships with your family because he sees you as a complete individual with a high-value life. A drainer will see these things as competition for his own ego, and will often attempt to guilt-trip you into prioritizing his whims over your own established goals. You must be ruthless in identifying these patterns early on, as a man who does not facilitate your growth will inevitably become an anchor that holds you back. The black cat does not negotiate with anchors. She simply cuts the rope and sails forward into her own successful future. You must evaluate his level of reciprocity by looking at the hard data of his actions, rather than the potential you think you see in his personality. If you are the one doing the majority of the planning, the emotional check-ins, and the compromising, the filter has already identified a critical failure in the dynamic. Women are socially conditioned to be the givers, but the black cat flips this script by ceding less and observing more to see what he brings to the table. A man who truly loves a woman will naturally seek to protect her energy and provide for her needs in ways that make her life less stressful. If his presence in your life makes things more difficult or more confusing, he has failed the filter and must be removed from your inner circle. The filter also applies to how a man handles conflict and whether he respects your need for assertive, concise communication without drama. A facilitator will hear your standards and adjust his behavior because he values the relationship more than his own fleeting desire to be right or lazy. A drainer will interpret your boundaries as an attack and will resort to micro-trailing or lies to hide his behavior, both of which are immediate grounds for dismissal. A black cat never allows a man to disrespect her more than once. She communicates her standard, observes the follow-up, and exits if the behavior repeats. This level of decisiveness is what keeps your life clean and free of the emotional clutter that slows down most women. You must be honest with yourself about whether a man is truly an asset to your lifestyle or just a habit you are afraid to break. A high-value woman has friends, family, and a thriving career, so her partner must provide something that she cannot already provide for herself: high-level companionship and mutual support. If he is draining your bank account, your emotional reserves, or your time away from your hobbies like running, he is a parasitic element in your ecosystem. The black cat values her independence too much to let a subpar man occupy the space where a true partner should be. By applying the filter strictly, you ensure that only the most dedicated and respectful men are allowed access to your sweet and vulnerable side. Reciprocity is not just about equal effort. It is about the quality and the intention behind the effort a man puts into the relationship. A facilitator is honest, brave, and authentic, matching the energy you bring to the table with a devotion that is both seen and felt. He facilitates your peace by being a reliable and transparent presence, never leaving you in the dark about his intentions or his actions. If a man hides things or uses micro-deceptions to manage your perception of him, he is a drainer who is unworthy of your partnership. The black cat knows that any form of betrayal or micro-betrayal is a signal that the relationship is no longer a safe or productive place for her heart. A man who facilitates your life will encourage your health goals, whether that means supporting your healthy diet or celebrating your milestones in the gym. He understands that your vitality is part of what makes you a black cat, and he would never ask you to compromise your well-being for his convenience. On the other hand, a drainer might feel threatened by your strength and try to derail your progress with subtle criticisms or by demanding your time during your scheduled workouts. Your filter must be sensitive to these microaggressions, as they are early indicators of a man who does not truly have your best interests at heart. A partner should be your biggest teammate, not a competitor trying to win at your expense. Use the filter to assess how much you have to perform to keep his interest, because a true facilitator will love you for who you are, not just what you do for him. If you feel like you have to constantly provide acts of service to prove your worth, you are in a relationship with a drainer who views you as a utility. A black cat knows her worth is fixed, and she only remains in situations where she is appreciated for her authentic self, her courage, her honesty, and her partnership. You should never feel like you are on a permanent job interview with a man. You are the one conducting the interview to see if he qualifies for the privilege of your company. The final stage of the filter is the realization that being alone is infinitely better than being drained by a man who does not deserve you. When you are comfortable in your own skin and happy with your independent life, you no longer fear the result of the filter, even if it means returning to your own company. You have your work, your physical hobbies, and a supportive family to keep you grounded and satisfied. This lack of desperation makes your filter unbreakable, as you are perfectly willing to let a drainer go to maintain your internal peace. You are the gatekeeper of your own energy, and the black cat only surrounds herself with those who make the journey worth it.
Your playbook for lasting respect.
The first step in your playbook is the immediate implementation of the law of mirrored investment, which requires you to stop being the primary architect of the relationship. If you notice that he has stopped prioritizing you or has become inconsistent with his attention, you must automatically pull back your own energy without a word of complaint or a demand for explanation. You do not chase, you do not insist, and you absolutely never settle for the crumbs of attention that he throws your way to keep you on the hook. By mirroring his level of effort, you protect your dignity and force him to either step up his game or fade out of your life entirely. This is not a game of chicken, but a survival tactic for your self-respect that ensures you never overinvest in a sinking ship. The second step is the practice of assertive communication over emotional explanation, where you state your standards clearly and concisely once, and only once. A black cat does not engage in hours of circular arguments to prove why she deserves respect. She simply communicates her standards and observes the following actions. If you are in a serious relationship and a boundary is crossed, you state the issue plainly and expect a resolution that facilitates your peace. If the disrespect is repeated after a clear communication, you must be prepared to leave without looking back, as repeating yourself is a form of self-betrayal. Remember that your words have power only when they are backed by the absolute willingness to walk away from the conversation forever. The third step is the radical embrace of emotional detachment, specifically the ability to be unbothered by the outcome of any single romantic interaction. You must anchor your happiness in your successful career, your progress in the gym, and the deep love you share with your family and friends. When your life is full of running, healthy eating, and meaningful work, the departure of a mediocre man becomes a minor footnote rather than a life-shattering tragedy. You stay because a partner makes your life easier and sweeter. If he stops doing that, you open the door for him to leave. Your value is fixed by your authenticity and courage, and no man's inability to see it can ever change that fact. The fourth step is the strict enforcement of the no-tolerance policy for deception, which covers everything from micro-betrayals to outright lies intended to hide his wrongdoings. A black cat knows that trust is a binary state. Once a man proves he is capable of hiding the truth to protect himself at your expense, the foundation of the relationship is gone. You do not offer second chances for betrayals or lies, because doing so teaches him that your respect can be negotiated or bought with excuses. Being honest and true yourself, you deserve a partner who operates with the same level of integrity and transparency. If the filter catches a lie, the playbook dictates an immediate withdrawal of your energy and a return to your own serene and successful life. The fifth step is the cultivation of selective vulnerability, where you only reveal your sweet, warm, and loving side to those who have consistently earned that privilege through respect. You are not a cold machine, but a woman who understands that her warmth is a high-value asset that must be guarded against parasites. When a man facilitates your life and treats you with genuine care, you are free to be the authentic, partnership-oriented woman you naturally are. However, the moment that safety is compromised, you must be able to return to your detached state to protect your core. This flexibility allows you to enjoy deep intimacy without becoming a victim of a man who does not value the depth of your character. The sixth step is the maintenance of your independent ecosystem, ensuring that your hobbies, work, and social life never shrink to accommodate a man's presence. You must continue your weightlifting, your runs, and your professional development, regardless of your relationship status. A black cat never makes a man the sun of her universe. He is a planet that must stay in its own orbit and contribute to the harmony of the system. By staying busy and fulfilled, you naturally radiate the unbothered energy that keeps you magnetic and prevents you from becoming a needy golden retriever. A full life is the best defense against toxic dynamics, because you simply do not have the time to entertain anything that drains you. The seventh and final step of the playbook is the mastery of the exit, which is the physical and emotional act of leaving a situation that no longer serves you. You do not leave with a dramatic scene or a long letter of grievances. You simply gather your energy and move forward with your head held high. Because you are already happy alone and have a supportive network of family and friends, the exit is not a fall into a void, but a return to your own power. You leave because you deserve things that are good, and you know that your bravery will be rewarded with the peace and success you have built for yourself. This is the ultimate execution of the black cat energy, knowing that you are the prize and acting accordingly in every single moment.
Your black cat era begins.
Becoming a black cat is the most profound commitment you will ever make to your own happiness and long-term success. It is a transition from a life of emotional labor and anxiety to a state of absolute serenity and self-assured power. You now possess the psychological framework to identify facilitators, the logic to maintain your detachment, and the playbook to protect your energy at all costs. This is not just a change in how you date. It is a total reclamation of your identity as a woman who is already complete, honest, and brave. You are no longer waiting for a man to choose you. because you have already chosen yourself as the most important person in your universe. Your future is defined by your career, your physical vitality, and the deep, meaningful connections you share with your family and friends. You have built a world that is so rich and fulfilling that a man's presence is a welcome luxury, but never a requirement for your survival. By embracing the unbothered energy of the black cat, you ensure that your peace of mind is never again held hostage by someone else's inconsistent behavior. You have the courage to be vulnerable with the deserving, and the strength to be cold and calculative when your respect is on the line. This balance is your greatest asset, making you a woman who is both deeply loving and impossible to manipulate. As you step into this new era of sovereignty, remember that your silence in the face of disrespect is your most powerful weapon and your loudest message. You do not need to argue, explain, or beg for the treatment you deserve when your actions already reflect your high standards. When you are willing to walk away without looking back, you demonstrate a level of self-respect that commands the attention of the entire world. Stay focused on your runs, your healthy habits, and your professional growth, knowing that the right partnership will naturally facilitate your ease rather than drain your spirit. You are the architect of a beautiful life, and you are finally the one holding the keys to the door. We are building a community of women who are tired of settling for crumbs and are ready to feast on the respect and devotion they have earned through their own excellence. This channel is your guide and your sanctuary as you navigate the complexities of modern dynamics with the poise and grace of a black cat. You are not alone on this journey, but you are the only one who can take the final steps toward your emotional independence. Trust in your intuition, honor your boundaries, and never let anyone dim the light of the authentic woman you were always meant to be. The era of the golden retriever is over, and your sovereign reign has officially begun. If you are ready to fully commit to this transformation and never accept anything less than what you deserve, I want you to make it official right now. Go to the comments and type the word sovereign to signal to yourself and this community that you are reclaiming your power today. By typing this, you are making a pact with your future self to stay detached, unbothered, and fiercely protective of your inner peace. Subscribe and stay tuned for our next deep dive into the psychology of high-value dynamics and how to maintain your throne in every situation. Remember that you are a black cat, you are complete, and your sovereignty is non-negotiable.
I hope you found this content very helpful. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other video, and I'll see you in the next one.